Hi, I'm Jeff Tucholsky, and I'm part of the missions team here. In the last video, my wife Denise gave a reflection on our pantry, the 7 years that we've had the pantry, and in that we went through all the details of how it grew and evolved. But at the end of her video, she gave the teaser about a miracle that happened on September 9th in 2020. Now, I first got involved when I was hailed by either Jack or Denise, I don't remember which, that there was a gentleman who had come over to the prayer station, and the prayer station was set out by the canopy near the front door.
We had started having our prayer time out in the yard. We would have people who wanted prayer pull off to the side to receive it, and we would pray with them in person together.
This fella cut across the lawn. He came out of nowhere. As he got about halfway across to me, I thought, I better get up and meet him, as he's on church property and just see what he has to say.
Jack came across the lot and said, this gentleman needs to see Jeff. He has something he has to talk to Jeff about. And so found Jeff, who wasn't very far away.
Jack introduced me to this fellow, and I learned later his name was Drew. That Drew was someone who lived nearby, I think just down either Beach Road or Dragoon Trail. What I remember the most is him reaching into his pocket and pulling out a wad of money. He had said he had seen cars lined up in our parking lot. He lived close by, and he's noticed this on a number of occasions, and he didn't really know what we were doing, but he had noticed that. And then with this money that he pulled out, he said he wanted to give it to us in some way. He wanted to help the people that were lined up. We explained what we were doing there, and then the pantry was all about. And he had also said that come into this money unexpectedly or it was a windfall, and that I can't remember if he said he was led or he said God told him he needed to give it away. He thought this was the place where he should give this away. So my immediate instinct was, I'll just take the money. We'll buy product with it. But somehow I never really got that out of my mouth. As we discussed it, he explained that maybe what he wanted to do was give it to the people who were lined up.
They talked and they worked out that he was going to greet each car. Jeff would greet each person first, and then the gentleman would talk to each person in the car.
And I told him, there's a gentleman here who wants to speak with you and who wants to give you a blessing or a gift. It's not from the church, and you're not obligated to take it. But if you would just have him come and talk to you, you can make up your own mind. His intention was to give $100 to every car in line if they would take it. And that he had $3,000.
And I remember I was inside. I was late to getting outside. This was before the pantry even started. And BZ is running up to me going, there's a guy here, and he's giving away money. He's got a ton of money he's going to give away. And I was like, what? And I got caught up with the story. And I was basically just sitting at the prayer time watching as this man is going car by car through the line, passing out $100 to every car.
Because you don't get somebody like that comes along and brushes your brow with that much cash, and even though it's just $3,000, it is something that people just don't do.
The one detail that I did recall as I was going through it, it just so happened our grandson, Mark, was in line that day, and in fact driving Gene Hipsher's blue pickup truck that we had given to him, or he had inherited, so to speak. When I told him, I said, there's a guy here, and I said, I'm going to tell you, he's going to offer you $100. And he looked at me and said, that's crazy. But he said, I could really use the money. And I think we have testimony from a number of people afterward. They, in fact, did really appreciate it and need the money, and many were in tears.
He was right to the point. So I wondered, I was in suspense for quite a while until I found out that he was making the rounds, and he was going to distribute the money.
I do remember as we were putting things in the cars, many of the drivers or people in the cars were crying. They were so happy to get that money. They just really wanted to thank us, and they're always very appreciative for anything that we do for them.
In the prayer line, while we were praying with the individuals, those who would drive up, and I go, do you know what's happening? Can you believe that this guy's giving out? He just gave me $100. And most of them were in tears because it was exactly what they needed in that time. And of course, they still had prayer requests, and we got to pray not only for whatever their needs were, but praising God for what they had just received. It was very special.
There did come a time when most of the cars were all gone. We still had some time, usually around halfway through, around 6:30 or so. Most of them are usually through. But he said, well, is that it? Is it done? I said, well, normally we wait because some will come. Maybe we may get one or two more cars, so we usually just wait. He said, okay, I'll wait. And then we just chatted with him a little bit about where he attended church, just general conversation. And then a car would come through.
I asked him if he had ever done anything like this. He said, no, absolutely not. He was terrified. He told me that he was introverted and that he didn't like talking to people. He was shaking going through this interaction with everybody at the car. But he knew that God had told him to do it, and he was following instructions. He was just obeying God's command.
A lady who had been already through and had somebody with her in the car. So when he gave her $100, she gave it to her friend, and she went home. But then she came back and she gave him a thank you card that she had written out because she was so blessed. He was pretty amazed that she would come all the way back and give him a thank you card, and then he gave her a $100 bill. And then when she drove away, he turned to those of us that were standing there. I think maybe there were several of us, and he said, "That was my last bill." And as we all caught our breath, we said, "And it's 7:00. It's 7:00, and that was your last bill."
He was given the exact amount of money that he needed to fulfill every need of that night. That was all God ordained. I am getting goosebumps now, and I know I got goosebumps then. I think we all felt God telling us that he was in it.
For us, and for those people that got that extra money, I think it felt like a miracle.
And that was very affirming to our paper pantry, of course, that we are out here for a reason, that God is not only calling us to be here, but he called Drew to be there, and that we're responsible to touch these people's lives.
Honestly, for me, that was confirmation that God was in it. This is what he wanted us to do. We were doing his work. I mean, I often refer to the passage in the Bible, and I don't remember it's in Matthew somewhere. I was hungry and you fed me. I was naked and you gave me clothes. I was in prison, you visited me. That verse, and that's what I think we're supposed to do. We are to serve our neighbors and serve the community, and within whatever we can do to help them meet their needs. And in this case, these are needs that are not as easy to meet if you're down on your luck. So we felt it was the right thing, and I think this was just a kind of the ultimate confirmation, like God was there and that he was among us. We're thankful that we think we're doing the right thing, and the pantry has grown in a number of ways. I think we're doing more of what God wants us to do as it expands into the hands of the King, and as we meet people in our community meal and invite them in. So I just think it all seems to be working together, and just feel so blessed to be a part of it. And like in all things, the blessing comes back on us as much as it goes to other people. Thanks for listening, and hope you enjoyed this video. God bless everybody.